The worst part about a job that's making you depressed isn't even the job. It's what happens after you clock out. Because you go home and you're supposed to feel relief, but you don't. You carry it into your night, into your sleep, into your weekend. And that's when it hits you. This isn't just burnout anymore. Something deeper is going on. You wake up the next morning and realize you have to do it all again tomorrow. Hey there, I'm Dee, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome to It's Just Monday. On this channel, we talk about surviving jobs we hate, coping until we can quit, building real exit plans, and sharing stories of people who made it out and found success. So if that sounds like you, hit subscribe. So today we're talking about something that a lot of people are dealing with, but not enough people are saying out loud. What to do when your job is making you depressed. And I want to say something really clearly before we even get into the steps. This video is not about telling you to just quit, because we live in the real world with real responsibilities. Bills are real, rent is real, health insurance is real. And some of us are supporting families, or paying off debt, or just trying to keep our head above water. So no, I'm not going to sit here and tell you to quit tomorrow. But what I'm going to do is give you a real plan for what to do when your job is starting to mess with your mental health. Because you shouldn't have to suffer just to pay the bills. So let's talk about something people often don't want to admit. And that is, your job can actually make you depressed. Not sad, not stressed, not annoyed, depressed. And if you've never been there, it's hard to explain. But it can and does happen. Because depression isn't always crying. Sometimes depression is just heaviness. It's waking up and already feeling tired. It's losing interest in things you used to enjoy. It's feeling numb. It's feeling like you have nothing to look forward to. It's the way your life starts shrinking because work takes all of you. So it's important to be able to differentiate between a job that's stressful and a job that's making you depressed. A stressful job might drain you, but you still feel like yourself when you get home. You might be tired, but you recover. A job that's making you depressed, you don't recover. You keep looking at the clock, waiting for your shift to end so you can finally get a break. And then when you finally get off, you don't feel better because your mood has shifted and you carry that feeling home. And then you wake up the next day already feeling uneasy, already feeling depleted. And that's when it becomes a cycle. One bad day turns into two turns into three, and before you know it, you're in a state of depression. Now, I want to say this real quick. I'm not a therapist and I'm not a doctor. And if you feel like you're in danger or having thoughts of harming yourself, please talk to a professional or someone you trust right away. This video is for the people in that gray area where you're not falling apart, but you can feel something is definitely wrong. So let's break this into 3 parts. What you can do right now to protect your mental health, how to cope while you're still stuck, and how to start building your way out, one step at a time. Step 1 is this. You have to stop gaslighting yourself and accept that this might actually be depression, or at least something serious. Because depression is a condition, and depression is not your fault. You didn't cause it. You're not being dramatic. You're not weak, and you're not lazy. And yes, some people do have it worse. But that doesn't cancel out your right to feel exactly how you feel. If your job is making you feel emotionally unsafe, if your job is making you feel numb, if your job is making you dread waking up, that matters. You don't need permission to take your pain seriously. And I want you to understand something that took me a long time to learn. Depression doesn't always come from your personal life. Sometimes it comes from the environment you spend 40 plus hours a week in. Sometimes it comes from the way people treat you, the constant disrespect, constant pressure, constant emotional labor, So stop calling it nothing, because when you keep telling yourself it's nothing, you stay and you keep getting smaller. And that's how people slowly disappear inside jobs that don't even deserve them. Step 2 is about creating a mental boundary between you and the job. Because one of the most damaging things about a toxic job is that it doesn't stay at work. It follows you. It moves into your body, your nervous system, your evenings, your sleep, your weekends. And before you know it, you're not just dealing with the job during your shift, you're dealing with it all day. And that's how a job starts turning into depression. So one of the first things you have to do is separate your identity from your employment. And I'm going to give you a simple phrase that can help. When you feel yourself spiraling, say, "This is not my life, this is my job." And I want to be clear. I'm not saying that to minimize what you're going through, because I know it's very real. But your job is something you do. It's not who you are. And if you don't create that boundary, you'll start feeling like your whole life is miserable. When really, what's happening is that you're being drained in one place for 40 hours a week, and it's bleeding into everything else. So anytime your mind starts telling you, "This is my life, this is all I'll ever be, this is all I'll ever do," I want you to interrupt that thought and remind yourself, no, this is my job, not my life. And once you can create that separation, that's when you can start building the next thing. And that brings me to step 3. You need a decompression ritual after work. Because if you're going straight from a toxic job into your home with no transition, your brain never gets the message that you're safe. So you carry the job with you into your evening, into your mood, into your sleep. And then you wake up the next day and you're already drained. So having a decompression routine can help. And I'm not talking about anything fancy. This could be as simple as sitting in your car for 5 minutes in silence before you even walk into the house, or taking a shower the minute you get home, changing your clothes immediately, lighting a candle after your shower, just to shift the mood, just to remind your body work is over. Because sometimes we find joy in the little things, like the smell of a candle, or putting on your favorite playlist, or listening to a podcast that makes you feel like yourself again. And I also want to say this, walking. Walking has been shown to be extremely powerful for your mood and your mental health, because it triggers the release of neurotransmitters like endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin. And they have been proven to boost happiness, lower stress and anxiety, and help combat depression. Walking can also improve mental clarity. So even if you're tired, even if you're mad, even if you're still thinking about that one customer who ruined your whole day, if you can, try to incorporate walking into your decompression routine. And I'm not saying you need a full workout plan or that you need to become a gym person overnight. I'm talking 10 or 15 minutes. Because the point of all this isn't to pretend the job didn't happen, but your brain needs a signal. You need something that tells your brain work is over, even if the feelings aren't. Step 4 is where things start getting real, because this is what a lot of people don't realize. Sometimes it's not the job, it's not the tasks, it's not even the work itself. Sometimes it's the environment. Sometimes it's the people. Sometimes it's the way you're treated. Because my job is making me depressed is real, but it's also very broad. And if we don't get specific, you'll just keep suffering. So I want you to ask yourself one question. What part of this job is hurting me the most? Because sometimes it's the customers, sometimes it's the manager, sometimes it's the micromanagement, sometimes it's the constant pressure to perform, sometimes it's the lack of control, the lack of respect, the schedule, the environment, the pay, or honestly, sometimes it's the fact that you feel like you have to pretend to be someone you're not for 8 hours straight. And I'll give you my personal example. For me, it's the customers. It's the way people can talk to you like you're nothing, like you're not human, like you're just a punching bag they can unload on. And it's also the coworkers sometimes, the rude ones, the condescending ones, the ones who act like you work for them instead of working with them. And after a while, that kind of treatment does something to you. It chips away at you. Not all at once, slowly, quietly, until one day you wake up and you're like, how did I even get here? So that's why step 4 matters. Because once you identify what's actually hurting you, you can start protecting yourself from it, even before you quit, even while you're still stuck. Now, step 5 is the how. Because step 4 is awareness, step 5 is protection. Step 5 is, okay, I know what's hurting me. Now what do I do about it? And I want to be honest with you. This step is not always going to feel satisfying. Because if you're dealing with rude people every day, the answer you want is, how do I make them stop? And the truth is, you can't. You can't control how people act. You can't control who walks into your workplace. You can't control who calls your phone. You can't control who is miserable and decides to make you their target that day. So what can you control? You. Your boundaries, your exposure, your nervous system, your energy. And yes, that's unfair because you didn't create this situation. But this is how you protect yourself while you're still in it. These aren't perfect fixes, they're survival tools. So let me start with the hardest one first. The first one is, stop taking it personally, even when it feels personal. I know. This one is hard for me as well, because when someone is talking to you like you're stupid or like you're beneath them, it feels personal. But I need you to remember something. Most of the time, they're not reacting to you. They're reacting to the situation. They're reacting to their own stress, their own entitlement, their own lack of emotional regulation. And even if they are just a nasty person, that still has nothing to do with you or your worth. That's about their character, not yours. Because here's what happens when you take it personally. They unload on you, and then they go on with their day, and you sit there carrying it for hours, sometimes the whole day. Sometimes you take it home, sometimes you replay it at night, and before you know it, a stranger just stole your peace. And I know that sounds dramatic, but it's not. It's real. So you have to start practicing this mindset. This is not about me, this is about them. Even if you don't believe it at first, even if you have to repeat it 100 times, because that is how you stop absorbing poison that was never meant for you. Step 2, set boundaries when someone becomes abusive. Now let's talk about the part nobody tells you. Yes, you have bills to pay. Yes, you need the job, but you did not come to work to be abused. And if someone crosses the line, you are allowed to calmly set a boundary, even in customer service, even in a corporate job, even if you're scared. A simple line like, I'm happy to help, but I need us to keep this respectful. That's it. You don't have to argue. You don't have to match their energy. You don't have to defend yourself. You set the boundary and you keep moving toward the solution. Because another key part of reducing emotional exposure is this. Stop sitting in the abuse longer than you have to. So yes, listen. Yes, show empathy. But move toward the solution quickly. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to get off that call. You deserve to end that interaction. And if you need a moment, use the tools you already have. Put them on hold. Say, let me look into that for you. Please hold for a moment. And while they're holding, take a breath, recenter, remind yourself, this is not personal. This is not my life. This is my job. That little pause can literally make you feel so much better. Step 3, take your breaks like your mental health depends on it, because it does. Some of you are skipping breaks like it makes you a better employee. Some of you think never using a sick day or taking vacation time means you're better than those who do. And I need you to hear me. It doesn't. It makes you a more burnt out employee. Take your breaks. Take your lunch. Take your 10 minutes. And if you have a moment where something happens and you feel yourself spiraling, step away if you can, even for 1 minute. Even if it's just to go to the bathroom, even if it's just getting water, because you have to interrupt the emotional buildup before it turns into a breakdown. Step 4, stop volunteering for extra emotional labor. This one is big, especially if you're the nice one, the responsible one, the one who always picks up the slack, the one who always tries to keep the peace. Stop. Because in customer service jobs, especially, being too nice is often what destroys you. You end up absorbing everyone's emotion like a sponge, and you were not built to be a human punching bag. Do your job, do it well, but stop giving away more of yourself than the job is paying for. Number 5, use the support your company offers if they offer it. A lot of companies have something called EAP, Employee Assistance Programs, and people often ignore it. But if you have it, use it, because EAP can often give you a few free therapy sessions. And even if it's only 3 sessions, that can still help. That can still be a place where you get support, where you get tools, where you get to talk to someone trained, instead of carrying everything alone. And number 6, protect your body. Sleep, breathing, and small resets. I'm not going to sit here and act like sleep fixes everything, but I will say this. When you're depressed, sleep becomes your foundation. And when your sleep gets destroyed, everything gets worse. Your mood gets worse. Your anxiety gets worse. Your patience gets worse. Your ability to cope gets worse. So if you can't change the job right now, protect your body while you're still there. And if you can't do yoga or meditation or all that extra stuff people suggest, start with one simple thing: deep breathing. Even in the bathroom, even in the car, even for 30 seconds, because your body needs signals of safety. And toxic jobs don't give you those. So you have to give them to yourself. And here's the point of step 5. You're not trying to become numb. You're not trying to become cold. You're not trying to pretend you don't care. You're trying to stop the job from having full access to you. Because right now, it's not just taking your time, it's taking your spirit, and you deserve better than that. Okay, step 6 is where we get real. Because when your job is making you depressed, you're not going to feel motivated, excited, or even inspired. And if you keep waiting to feel ready to change your life, you're going to be waiting forever. So I need you to stop measuring your progress by motivation, because motivation is not coming right now. You're in survival mode. And when you're depressed, the goal is not to thrive. The goal is to stay alive. The goal is to keep your head above water. So instead of asking yourself, am I making big progress? I want you to start asking yourself, did I get through today? Like literally, did I eat today? Did I drink water? Did I take my break? Did I go outside for 10 minutes? Did I apply to one job? Did I do one small thing for my exit plan? Because when you're depressed, small wins are not small. Small wins are life. Small wins are proof that you're still in there, even if it doesn't feel like it, even if you're numb, even if you're tired. So if you did one small thing today, you're still moving, and that matters more than you think. Step 7. I want to add one more step here, because this one is sneaky. When your job is making you depressed, your brain is going to tell you to isolate, because being alone feels easier. It feels quieter and safer, and I get it. Because when you're drained, the idea of talking to anyone feels like too much. But here's the problem. Too much alone time turns into rumination, and rumination turns into a loop. And that loop becomes replaying the worst parts of your day over and over and over. And before you know it, your whole life is just pain. So I'm not saying you need to be around people 24/7 or go out every weekend. I'm saying try to spend time with people you actually enjoy being around as much as you can, even if you don't talk about your job at all, because the right people remind you your job isn't your whole world, and you need that reminder. Step 8. People think the solution is they need to become a different person. So they think, I need to be tougher. I need to stop being sensitive. I need to be more grateful. But no, the solution isn't you becoming a different person. The solution isn't tolerating a toxic work environment forever. The solution isn't accepting a job that makes you miserable. The solution is you building a plan. Because if your job is making you depressed, the goal isn't to become someone who can tolerate it forever. The goal is to stop living in survival mode. Step 9. This is where you start building your way out by choosing one path for your exit. But this is also where people get stuck because they start thinking, should I start a business? Should I go back to school? Should I learn a trade? Should I switch careers? Should I do real estate? Should I do this? Should I do that? And it becomes overwhelming. And sometimes overwhelm can lead to inaction. So here's what I recommend. Choose one direction for the next 30 to 60 days. Not forever, just for now. Examples include applying for 5 better jobs per week, starting a side hustle with the goal of making your first $100, getting certified in something that raises your pay, or whatever it is you're drawn to. Just choose one path, one focus, because depression plus overwhelm is a dangerous combo. Step 10. This part is important because when your job makes you depressed, you start believing nothing will ever change. That is one of depression's biggest lies. So you need proof. You need evidence. And you don't get evidence by thinking. You get it by doing small things consistently, even when you feel hopeless, even when you feel tired. So if your job is making you depressed, I want you to remember this. You're not lazy, you're not weak, you're not broken. You're responding normally to an environment that is draining you. But it's important that you remember, this is not your forever, this is your right now. So if this video hit home, I want you to leave a comment and just tell me, I'm here. Or tell me which part of your job is hurting you the most right now. And if you want more videos about coping while you build your exit plan, hit subscribe. Because on this channel, we're not just surviving Mondays, we're building our way out. I'm Dee, and this is It's Just Monday.